artist, so we're going to be doing most of our art lessons at home for a while, so I want to make sure that you're set up correctly. This is our first sort of art lesson. Make sure that you have a nice place to work. This can be the dining room table, it could be the counter in your kitchen, it could be a desk in your room. You just need to have a nice flat surface to sit, a nice comfortable seat, and you need to have a couple of tools. You definitely need something to draw with. So Sharpies, pencils will work just fine, ballpoint pens, and then you need also something to draw on. So I have this pad of paper I might use. I just grabbed a bunch of copy paper out of my printer, and I have my sketchbook as well. So any of these will work. If you have a sketchbook, please do all of your sketching in your sketchbook. If you just have paper like this, that's totally fine too, but I would suggest stapling them together or somehow putting them in a folder so that you have all of your drawings with you. You might also need to have a nice cup of coffee, like I do. So what is drawing anyway? Most of us know it when we see it, and most of you might say, oh, it's just when you take a pencil and you draw something on a piece of paper, right? And that's the way most of us draw, but drawing is really just the act of using any tool that makes a mark and then making marks on a surface. So there's a variety of surfaces up here. I have butcher paper, wood, cardstock, cardboard, regular bond paper, and a whiteboard. All of these are different surfaces, flat surfaces for me to put marks on. So, and I also have a variety of tools to do that. I have whiteboard markers, I have pastels and chalks, I have a Sharpie, I have colored pencils, I have regular markers, and I have a regular pencil. And so I can make marks on these surfaces using all of these tools. For example, I can use the chalk to draw on black cardstock. I can use my whiteboard marker to make marks on the whiteboard. I can use the Sharpie to draw on my butcher paper. I'm gonna draw a nice flower. And I'll use this marker to draw on my cardboard. And I'll use an oil pastel to draw on the wood. So those are all tools, different types of tools to make marks on different surfaces. Okay, kindergartners, let's take a little closer look at the materials that we're going to use today. We're going to use a pencil and we're going to use a Sharpie. Your pencil should be sharp and should have an eraser at the end, or you should have a separate eraser. And when we hold our pencil, we want to make sure that we're holding it correctly. So the proper way to grab a pencil is to pinch it with your two fingers right at the bottom here, flip it up, tuck it back here, and then cradle your other fingers underneath it. So you're really only holding it with these two fingers, and these three are sort of supporting the other fingers. And that will allow you to draw really nice lines. Now a Sharpie is a little bit different. A Sharpie you have to uncap, so you have to pull that cap off. And when you pull the cap off, I like to put it right on the back end of my Sharpie like that so I do not lose it. Now Sharpies can get a little messy because the ink in the Sharpie will stick to a lot of things. It will stick to your hands for a little bit, but eventually you can wipe it off. But if you draw it on a piece of paper, it's never gonna come off. And if you get it on your clothing, or if you get it on your brother or sister's clothing, or if you get it on your dog, it probably won't come off very well. So just be careful with how you're using it and only draw it on the paper. You definitely don't wanna draw it on the table or on any other objects. And when you are finished drawing with the Sharpie, please take that cap off, put it back on, and if you want to give it a little tap like that, make sure that the cap is on. You tap it to cap it. Some of you guys have maybe never actually used a Sharpie before, so let's just experiment with that first before we do our drawing. So go ahead and take the top off, put the top on the butt, and go ahead and hold it just like your pencil. We never want to hold our pens or pencils like this because that's really hard to control and it makes your hand go into a fist and it actually kind of hurts your hand after a while. So remember, you're gonna pinch it with those two fingers and then tuck the other ones underneath. Let's just go ahead and play with our materials and let's see what kind of lines we can make using our Sharpie. Now let's not scribble with the Sharpie today. Let's control ourselves a little bit more and see if we can just fill our whole paper with curvy, weird lines. Something like that. You don't have to copy me, you can do your own if you'd like, but I would like you to slow down a little bit and try not to scribble. So go ahead and do a straight line. Let's do a curvy line. Let's do a bumpy, broken line. Let's do some rainbow lines. Up and over, up and over, up and over. Okay, kindergartners, let's do our first drawing now. And this is gonna be a drawing of a sea serpent because the name of my room is the Sea Serpent Studio, or the Sea Serpent Room. And if you don't know what a sea serpent is, it's a made-up imaginary creature that lives in the ocean, and it looks like a gigantic snake and a dragon mixed together. All right, let's start by making the water. We're gonna do a curvy line at the bottom of our paper. So starting at the bottom, go ahead and draw a curvy line like this, and that's gonna be our waves or our water. Now we're gonna draw the body of our sea serpent, and we're gonna use the curvy rainbow lines that we did before. So I'm gonna do a curvy rainbow line that goes up and over, and another one that goes up and over. And inside of those rainbow curves, I'm gonna do other rainbow curves like this and like that. And this is gonna be the body of our sea serpent coming up out of the water. Now let's add the tail. We're gonna curve a line up and then back down. And that'll be the tail of our sea serpent. Draw a line up this way. Now let's round it over and back. And now we have the body of our big sea serpent coming out of the water. But we're not done. Let's add some details to this to give him some life. First of all, let's give him a big eye up here so we can see where he's going. Let's give him a little happy face because he's a happy sea serpent. And we're also going to give him some spikes on his back. So we're going to be using our broken line, our up and down line. So going down his whole back, you're going to go up, down, 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 up, down. And there we have our sea serpent. And one last drawing I want to do with you today is one of my favorite drawings that we do of this year, and it's a drawing of me, Mr. Noah, because this is one of the first times we're really meeting each other. And since I don't actually get to see you in person, I would really like to see you do this drawing so that you know who I am. So first of all, let's just look at what I look like. Hey, so I'm Mr. Noah, of course. Let's look at my face and see what we have to put in this drawing. I have some hair that kind of bumps up. I have a beard and a mustache, and I wear an apron that has a Batman symbol on it. So let's just make sure that we put those in our drawing and we should be okay. Okay, let's start by drawing my head. And we're just gonna try to make a circle shape if we can. So start somewhere here at the top of your paper and just make a nice shape that looks kind of like a circle. So bring it around and then come right back to the top like that. That's going to be my head. Now let's add some eyes, and we're just going to do dots today. So we're just going to do big dot here, big dot there. We're going to give me a nose, so I'm just going to do a rainbow curve, but I'm going to do an upside down rainbow curve. That could be the letter U. Now I'm going to give myself a big, huge smiley face because I'm very happy to be with you today. I am missing something important on my eyes, and that's eyebrows. Everybody has eyebrows. And of course, that's the whole drawing. Am I missing anything? Of course, I'm missing ears. Let's draw ears. And that's it. That looks exactly like me, right? What am I missing? Right, hair. Let's give me some hair. I'm gonna do sort of a broken line like I did with my sea serpent. We're just gonna scribble a little bit here at the top to make me have some hair. Now it looks exactly like me. What's that? Oh, beard. All right, we're gonna do little sketchy lines again. We're gonna go sketchy, 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 and give myself a beard and a mustache. Okay, but now I'm just a floating head in space. Let's give me a neck and shoulders. So we're gonna draw 2 lines down like that for my neck, and then 1 curvy line that way and 1 curvy line that way. Let's put a curved line down here where my shirt is. And we'll draw 2 lines here, 1 in here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and we will connect them. And that is gonna be my apron. And we'll just draw these a little bit lower. And if you want, you can put a bunch of circles over here for my buttons. And if you want, at the top, you can write, I love Mr. Nova. And feel free to go ahead and color that or add any more details that you want. And I would love, love, love to see these pictures. So please have your parents take a picture and email them to me at ncocina@cacmp.org. So now that I'm done with my Sharpie, I want to make sure that I put the cap back on. So I'm taking it off the back, sticking it on, and you can tap the cap. Make sure that it is nice and secure. I'm going to put that off to the side. These are my finished drawings that I did today of Sea Serpent and Mr. Noah. So go ahead and try both of those and send me pictures, or you can send the pictures to your teacher. And I would love, 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 love to see them since I don't get to see you guys in class. This is the only way I get to see your drawings. So please, please, please take pictures or scan them and send them to your teacher or send them to me. And I will see you guys next week.